So they are the consonants you do pronounce at the end of words, usually. There are exceptions, as you have seen. That means that most consonants are silent at the end of words. D, G, H, J, M, N, P, S, T, V, W, X, Y, Z. Again, there are exceptions. That's languages for you. And the exceptions are usually the fault of the vowels. Because you can merge a lot of these consonants, the ones above, with the next word if it begins with an alluring, magnetic vowel. It's called the liaison. Let's get together. I love vowels. So, S is normally not pronounced at the end of French words. It's not in frolic barbecue after all. But the next word here begins with an A. So to say we have in French, you say nous avons. And that S becomes a Z. Because S between two vowels in French is so in love, it gets very slurry and becomes a Z. Nous avons. S between two vowels is always a Z sound in French. Nous avons. We have. Nous avons. You don't have to do this, okay? But you will hear it a lot. You have. Vous avez. Vous avez. The Z sound almost sounds like it's at the beginning of the next word. Vous avez. Nous avons. Okay, the United States. Les États-Unis. Les États-Unis. When something is difficult, the way to get better is to say it over and 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 over again. Les États-Unis. Les États-Unis. Don't even look at it now, just listen to what I'm saying. Les États-Unis. Les États-Unis. Often I find when people try to read the word, their English alphabet and pronunciation stops them from listening and repeating. Don't look if that's you. Just listen. Les États-Unis. 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 The United States. Say it over and over. You may have heard the French word for boy, garçon. Okay? So if you want to say a boy, you don't hear that N of un. Un garçon. Un garçon. No merging. But if the next word were to begin with a vowel or what we call a mute H, mute because it does not have a sound. In fact, H never has a sound in French. Never, ever, ever, ever pronounce an H in French. When the H is acting like a vowel, which is most of the time, you can merge. Liaison. So, a man, the word for man is do not pronounce H in French. Ever, ever, never. You have to pretend it's not there. A man. Now you're going to hear the N merging. Enum. So man, a man, enum, num. So the N almost sounds like it's at the beginning of the next word. Enum, num. Num. And if it's a great man or a tall man, the word for tall is grand. It's also the word for great, but mostly it will mean tall. Now you're going to merge that D of grand into But when this happens, the D becomes a T sound. I know it's confusing, but you'll get used to it. Un grand homme. Un grand homme. Un grand homme. Tom. Un grand homme. Un grand homme. If you're getting confused, do not look at the words. Listen. This is how you learnt your own language, by listening. Un grand homme, un grand homme, un grand homme, un grand homme, un grand homme. So, pronunciation. Tip 1. Emphasize the end of the word more. Stress the end of the word more. Tip number 2. Do not pronounce the end of French words unless they end in frolic barbecue. And the exceptions, of course. And tip number 3. You can liaise those silent, once were silent, consonants, the D, G, H, all of that lot, with the next word, if the next word begins with a vowel or that mute, H.